Hey, I'm Sam Harris. For the past 28 years, I've had the privilege of being the minister of music at Parker's Chapel Free Will Baptist Church in Greenville, North Carolina. God has allowed us to grow from a choir of approximately 28 singers to a choir and orchestra of over 100 musicians. For the next few minutes, I would like to share with you some simple but important practices that can be applied to any sized choir rehearsal. In this third video, I'd like to tell you a few things to do after the rehearsal. So immediately after the rehearsal, there'll be a milling about of your people and some fellowship. Spend some time right then talking with some of your singers. Be available for questions. Some of your choir members may have questions about some of the music you've been going over, maybe a difficult spot for them. They may have some questions over maybe their practice materials. They might have some questions about some upcoming choir events or services that you have going on. So be available for those questions. And also, seek out some individuals to encourage. Maybe you've had some choir members who've been out sick, maybe some that haven't been there in a while. Maybe someone did a fabulous job with a choir solo. So use this time to encourage some of the individuals. So that's immediately after. But what about during the week? Well, here's what I would suggest to do in your office or in your time alone as you're evaluating the last rehearsal and before you enter into the next rehearsal. Number one, review the recording that you made. You can make the recording as an audio recording or maybe a video. And it doesn't have to be real elaborate. You can use your phone, you can use a tablet to make your audio or video recordings on. And here's the one thing that I think you ought to evaluate first. How much did I talk? We don't want to waste any time. And singers learn by singing. There are times that as the director, they need to hear from me what I am expecting or what I'm looking for correction in what we're working on. But mostly they learn by singing. So spend a little time talking, a lot of time singing. So evaluate how much time did you talk and how much time did you sing. Also, if it's a video recording, and I'd encourage you to video record yourself occasionally and evaluate your mannerisms, your conducting patterns. Maybe the reason the choir missed a specific entrance or a tricky entrance was because I wasn't confident enough as a director and didn't bring them in as I should have. So a video is great for that as well. Identify areas to work on at the next rehearsal and make rehearsal notes. Take your choir music as you're listening to the recording and make some notes in there about some things that you want to correct or encourage them to do better at the next rehearsal. Also, review the attendance roll and contact your absentees. Here's what I like to do. If someone misses one rehearsal, I normally do not contact them. If someone misses two in a row and I haven't heard from them, I like to send them a text and just tell them, hey, I missed you at choir practice. I hope you're doing okay. I look forward to seeing you back next week. Normally, they'll answer and give you an indication on why they had to be absent. But it just makes people feel good to know that you cared enough to reach out to them and let them know that you missed them. Also, have a weekly communication tool to use with the choir. In years past, I've used email. Now we've transitioned to something different because email is not the most effective tool for communication now. In our choir, I have teenagers all the way up to folks who are in their 80s. And so you have to communicate a little differently and have one tool is the goal. That's very difficult with that wide of a range of ages in the choir. So what we started doing here is I've created a web page on our website, and it's a hidden page, it's not a public page, that's just for the music ministry team, the players and singers alike. And I go and edit that. It's kind of like an email file, an email format that is just the pertinent information that they need for the week. Some things that I want to tell them, some announcements, and some things that I might not want to take time to communicate during choir practice. Then I encourage them to read it by sending them a text. Almost everyone receives text. And in the text, I send a link to that webpage. And we have been doing this since January. And the rate of communication is much, much better. And I would encourage you to do that. Some things that I include in my weekly communication with the choir. I do something spiritual or inspirational. I always have a Bible verse about singing. I also give some announcements about things that are coming up. I give them the choir song schedule. They know within 4 and 5 weeks out what songs we're going to sing and on which weekend. Also, I have an event calendar. If we have any choir events or anything that's coming up, that's listed there. And we've just started putting a choir members prayer list up. Then we also need to start preparation for the next rehearsal. Those preparations includes getting all of the things ready, like we mentioned in our first video, the before rehearsal video. If you haven't seen that video, go back and review that, let you know how that we can begin prepping now for our upcoming rehearsal. It is a wonderful thing to lead singers in worship. And I pray that these practical tips will help you as you lead the singers God has placed in your ministry.